go. All right, so on your backs, just get comfortable and take a moment to relax all your postural muscles. Just have the arms wherever they're comfortable, some distance from the body. And the feet about as far apart as is comfortable for you, and so that you can let go of any tension through the groin. And then just breathe and let the body unwind in its own time. Notice any ways that you are holding yourself. And see if you can release that holding. You can check to see that you feel all 9 points of the feet. And as you kind of let the feet kind of move in towards the floor, maybe some muscles in the legs can relax or let go. And then coming up to the pelvic bowl and feeling that whole lower back. Noticing any tension, letting it go. Still breathing. And then feeling along both sides of the spine, all the way up the back into the shoulder blades. Just check to see if your shoulders are relaxed into the floor, or if you're kind of holding up or rounding at all through the shoulders, and see if you can just let them go back. Letting the arms be heavy. Feeling the points through the upper arms, elbows, lower arms, points of the wrist. And then the head, nice and heavy too. Letting all the muscles in the face soften and fall back towards the floor, away from the midline of the face. And so we're going to take one leg up towards the ceiling, fairly straight. You don't have to straighten it completely, but just press the heel up towards the ceiling. And then just begin to jiggle that leg. So we're going to do some shaking tonight. We just want to keep shaking. We're going to shake for several minutes. You can find just by kind of shifting how you're holding your leg that you can get a different sensation through it. So be exploratory. And note for yourself where the impulse to shake is coming from. Where's the origination? Is there one point? Or are there multiple points kind of getting into the act together. And even though you might feel some movement elsewhere in the body, your leg might be becoming heavy too. So just let that be heavy. Let it be a little tired. Keep shaking. And try to keep all the other parts of your body heavy, rooted to the ground. So it's just that leg. You might want to press in with the supporting foot. That makes it a little easier. See if you can find a way to shake that kind of feels as though the muscles and the tissues around the bone are jostling as opposed to attached and rigid around the bone. You can also bend the knee a little deeper, or you can change how you're holding the leg, maybe straighten it out to the floor a little bit, or even off to the side. If you move to the side, just be aware that you want to keep maybe both hips on the ground if you can and use your core, or maybe not. Maybe you want to lift that hip on the opposite side a little bit and let your back arch slightly. But keep shaking. We're in the last few seconds, so not much more. The reward comes after when we stop. This is a Kundalini yoga exercise for releasing fear, believe it or not. Okay, so now you can stop the shaking and just descend that leg to the ground. Let it rest. And take a moment before we go to the other side, just to feel anything happening in your body. What do you notice in sensations through that leg, especially as you stop? Do you feel it just in the leg, or do you feel anything through the lower back and hip, or anywhere else? Just imagine that fear, maybe not of your own fear, the collective fear that's in the air everywhere, draining off. Let's take that knee in now, and we'll raise the other leg up towards the ceiling. You can stretch it a bit first, point and flex the foot if you want, and then just start shaking when you're ready. And just note at first, the shake might feel a little contrived, a little stiff. And the more you just kind of let go to it, let yourself kind of be floppy through the leg, you might find some more freedom, some more spontaneity in the shake. And this would be a really good place too to do some deep breaths, the Ujjayi breath, the Darth Vader breath. Again, finding all the different angles and all the different points from which, good, yes, from which you can move and shake. And maybe this side isn't as easy, that's possible. It's all fine. Just check that your body, the parts that are on the ground, are heavy, released, soft. Supporting foot, grounding you. And then if you want to bring the leg more towards the ground or out to the side for a little variation. We've got just a few more seconds to go. Notice where it feels tired. It might feel tired in the calf. It might feel tired in the thigh or at the groin. Give it one or two really big shakes and then lower the leg to the ground and rest. Good. And just feel again in that moment of release, the sensations down that leg. You can straighten both legs if you want, or just that one, it doesn't matter. Okay, so from here, we're going to flip onto our bellies and do a little extension. So flip yourself over. And we'll take a moment as we arrive here on the belly. Your arms can be wherever they're comfortable, your head in whatever way you want to support your head. Just breathe, feel the thighs against the floor. Decide how far apart you want your legs, as wide as the mat or maybe closer together. Notice your breath and how it responds to the pressure of the floor as you breathe. And then whenever you're ready, just turn so that your forehead is facing the ground. Keep your neck long though, so we don't want to crane the neck to look forward. Just let your neck relax and your gaze is directly toward your mat. And extend both arms out, coming to your fingertips. So just take a moment to feel that length. Maybe through the sides of the body, definitely through the shoulders, feeling the wing bones lifting. And as you kind of press the fingertips into the ground, additional lengthening through the tissues. If you want to rest your forehead, feel free. We're gonna pick up the toes, so bend the toes back as well. So just like the fingertips now, the toes are gonna reach. And you may feel your knees or even parts of your thighs lift. Just note where you're still anchored to the floor. Can you reach away from you with the heels and the fingertips? It's almost like being on the rack. And then just release everything back. Rest for a moment. You can let the tops of your feet be flat again. Just feeling the effects of that long stretch. When you're ready, take your time. We're going to come back onto the back to do the second half of our shaking. So just take a moment to adjust yourself again now on your back. And we have the feet standing, so again, just find where your legs can be most relaxed. And then we'll reach one arm towards the ceiling, but letting the shoulder plug back in towards the floor. So instead of pulling away from the floor with the shoulder, or you can go ahead and pull away, and then just let the shoulder fall back and sink towards the floor. And then whenever you're ready, just start to shake that arm in space, just like we did the leg. And again, just notice if it feels stiff or jiggly. We hold a lot of tension in our hands because all day long we're holding on to things, we're gripping, we're writing, we're computering, gardening, all the things that we do, cooking. So really take this opportunity to shake all that out. And then there's the added benefit of releasing any nervous system stuff, any fear. All different angles. And then when you're ready, you can just lay that arm at your side. Feel the sensations through it. Now we've done 3 limbs and we have 1 arm left. I want you to really notice how the arm we haven't done feels in comparison to the other 3 limbs. And note that it might not just be the arm that feels different, but maybe the chest on that side of the body as well. After another deep breath, you can lift that arm that we haven't done into space. Just make sure if you reach away that you plug the shoulder back into the floor and then begin shaking. It's kind of funny, you guys all look like you're waving at me. Hi. And so you might get a different sensation on this side of your body. Might feel quite different than the way the other side felt. Now, when you're doing this, you can have a free, clear mind, or you could just be focusing on what you're doing, or you can bring things to mind, stresses from your week, or worries that you might be carrying, and you can actually intentionally shake those off as well. Just another few seconds. Almost there. And then release that arm to the ground and take a moment to relax and feel. Good. From here, when you're ready, just come back onto your belly. Let's bring one knee in towards the buttocks, so kind of flexing through the thigh. Go ahead and flex the foot as well, so you're pulling that heel in as close to the buttocks as you can. Just kind of holding there for a moment, feeling that thigh contract, and then release to the ground. Let's go to the other side when you're ready. So flexing that foot, drawing the heel in towards the buttocks. Squeeze. You don't have to squeeze really intentionally, it just kind of happens. So I don't think you have to make extra effort. And then release that back. Going to the first side, just bringing heel to buttocks. Just noticing how close you can bring the heel. Hold and release. And then the second side, bringing the heel in towards the buttocks. Hold and release. Okay. We're going to come up onto the forearms in our Sphinx pose. So you can have the hands flat, or you can kind of clasp them right under your breastbone. You want to make sure that your elbows are right under your shoulders. And also draw your elbows close to your body, so you can bring them a little closer. There you go, perfect. Okay, good. All right, again, just relax the neck. So we're looking at the mat. And just release the lower back, the hips, that whole front of the thighs into the ground. And then we'll be drawing in the heel again, one heel at a time. So drawing one heel towards your buttocks. Might not come as close. And then release it to the ground. Other side, when you're ready, heel in, flexing that foot. And release. And then we'll just repeat this a few more times on each side, on your own. At your own pace. Try not to collapse through your shoulders. Try to stay up nice and tall. If on the next time you want to kind of turn to look behind you, you can go to one side and then the other, looking at the same heel. That's up and then lower, but that's optional. You don't have to turn back to look at it unless that feels good. Feel free to stay with that movement if you want to. If you want to come up into a cobra with your, you can actually leave your hands up towards the corner of your mat. So instead of having the hands right under the shoulders, you can put them more forward and then just pick the chest off the ground. Or you can have your hands right at your shoulders and lift from there. So whatever variation of a back bend feels good for you. You're also welcome to just stay in Sphinx with your forearms on the ground. And you can come up or down as many times as you choose with that. If you've had enough, feel free to come back to the floor. From there, when you're ready, we're going to go back into child's pose. So if you can push yourself up and press directly back, please do. If that's not possible, just bend a knee and use that to come onto all fours and then into your child's pose. Go gently, since we were just in extension. And you can have the arms either in front of you or just kind of natural and neutral at the sides or alongside the body towards the feet. Good. Just relax through the head and neck. Whether your tailbone's in the air or if it's on your feet, just allow it to soften back away from the spine towards the heels, as if towards the heels if they're not actually touching. See if you can breathe in such a way that you can feel the breath filling the back space of the lungs. Feel free to deepen the stretch in any way that might feel good as you soften. And then from here, in your child's pose, begin to explore that feeling of moving the knees away from each other and into the ground. So they go down and sort of away from each other. You'll feel perhaps the muscles of the outer leg engage right into the butt muscles. And just follow that full chain of events. If you press the knees away and into the ground, and the butt muscles get tighter, and then automatically that lower back starts to lift. Everything kind of rounds over the front body, mushrooming upward. Let your arms be heavy, let your head be heavy. And release. Everything soft again. And then one more time, pushing in and away with the heels of the knees, feeling the glutes fire. letting that lower back start to lift, like somebody's got you around the waist and they're pulling you up. But let the head and the arms be heavy, rounding over yourself. Strengthen the gluteals. Good. And release. And then using that same sensation to move into a downward dog. So feeling the knees moving away, the glutes fire, and you can lift from the lower back right up into downward dog. You can be on your forearms if you want, Ian, just or you can straighten your arms either way. Good. And just working through the backs of the legs in any way that feels good. Kind of shift the weight a little bit. Make sure that most of your weight is on your legs and not your hands. So you might have to open the backs of the legs and bend the knees. Let the belly come towards the thighs. Release the head. Good. There. Deep breaths. You can come down at any time and press up again, or you can hold. You can come onto the toes, kind of lengthen through the backs of the legs, and then lower the heels slowly. And then when you're ready, just come back to all fours. Good. Let's take a moment in all fours. So just feeling the hands under the shoulders, knees under the hips. And find some support through the core so that you're not tilting the pelvis down, the belly's not sagging. Just bring everything back towards the ceiling. And then we're going to draw the knee towards the head and the head towards the knee. So lift one knee in towards the chest and bring the nose to meet it. And then release. We'll repeat that going back and forth as many times as you care to. Just going side to side. Be careful that your weight doesn't shift so much onto the right or left. Try to keep the balance, the weight balanced even as you shift. Press in with both hands. Breathe in between. Good, and then when you feel like switching it up, you'll extend one leg back. You can press the toes back to get a bit of a calf stretch. And release, and then just go back and forth in this way. If you're having wrist issues, you can always come down to your forearms with the upper body. Swing back and forth with the legs. And then if you choose to, you can either keep doing one or the other, but if you'd like to put those together, so you'll take your knee to your nose, and then you'll extend your leg back, this time just leaving it in the air. And then down. So knee to nose, extend leg back, pressing that heel away through the air, and then down. Try to feel the full length of the spine as you open the body. So we've got this shortened body with the knee in, and then we lengthen head, top of the head all the way through to the heel. One more time on each side or thereabouts. Good. And then you can either take a little break for your wrists if you need to, or you can go right into cat-cow. And you might want to have your toes flat, or you might want them bent. It's up to you. Make this real organic. Doesn't have to be a certain type of cat-cow. Any kind of movement you want to do here. Okay, and then go ahead and cross your heels so that you're just crossing your legs at your heels so that you can come into a seated position right over them if that's possible for you. We're just going to be seated, so okay. Definitely have something you can sit on if you tend to round through the back. And you don't have to cross your legs unless you're comfortable doing that. So you can have them straight out or whatever works. You can sit in a chair too if that would be better. Okay. So just take a moment now to adjust the body to sitting. Noticing any places where there's tightness. And we're going to bring the arms into a cactus shape, but they're going to be parallel to the ground. So let your wrists be nice and floppy, kind of scarecrow-like, I guess, right? And we want to try to keep, throughout this exercise, we want to keep the arms parallel to the ground, the upper arms, that is. So you might already be feeling, just by letting the hands kind of flop off here, some tension, a tension line from one elbow to the other. And if you don't, like if you're sagging with the elbows down toward the ground, you're not going to feel it. So see if you can bring the elbows up a little bit. Now what we're going to be doing here is we're going to bring a rotation at the elbow so the hands will come up. Shoulder blades will kind of move together. There'll be some rotation through the shoulder. And then back to the floppy position. So you're just rotating at the shoulder, really. And then release. And try to keep everything from the elbows to the fingertips really soft. So there's not a lot happening there. But there's still tension in the upper arms. And we don't want the elbows to sag, so watch it if your elbows start to sag. It's a tricky thing. Okay, one more time. Good, and then release. Okay, so now we're gonna go the other way. So you're gonna bring some rotation downward. Again, my elbows are nice and high, right? So I'm not sagging. It's almost like there's a string on each elbow. Think of yourself as a marionette. And then back. And down again. So just going back and forth. Trying to keep everything loose from the elbows to the fingertips. Good. And then if you're feeling tired, just take a break. And just notice what sensations are happening here. We're going to do this in opposition now, but I want to give you a chance to recover from that. So if you would like, you can bring shoulders up to ears with a deep breath and then release. And do that a couple times. Again. Any other kind of shaking out you want to do before we go up with the arms again? And actually, it can be nice to bring one arm behind and grab hold of the opposite waist with the back of the hand. And release that, and then just go the other way. So we're kind of got the back of the hand around the waist. Okay. So, arms again, like so. One is going to go up, the other is going to go down. Take your time and really try to maintain that parallel line. So the line isn't broken anywhere. It's a straight across line. Yep. And you can look to the arm as you turn towards either the upward or the downward arm. It's going to feel different depending on where you look, so you can see what you like best. Really feel how everything is happening through. It's not just the shoulders that are moving. Your rib cage should also be moving. And only go as far as is comfortable and as far as you feel everything coming along with the arms. Good. And then when you feel complete with that, you can take any kind of arm stretch you want. And again, just note sensation through the neck, through the shoulders, down the arms. And let's take the legs out into a V. The legs can be bent, they don't have to be straight. But we do want to make sure that you aren't hunching over. So anything you need to do, if you need to sit on something a little taller so that you're not rounding through the back. Okay. So we're going to turn towards one leg. So there's a little bit of a rotation here. You can kind of anchor a hand on your thigh so that you can lengthen through the spine. I'm going to push and lengthen upward, getting taller. And then you can start to lean forward from the hip crease and walk the hands down. Now this might be as far as you get, or you might be able to walk a little further. So as long as you're feeling sensation through somewhere through the back of the leg and possibly through the side you're twisting away from. Feet are active. Just see what you can soften, see what kind of effort you can let go of to make this a more comfortable stretch in which you can just relax. Keep that hip that you're bending away from equally weighted. We'll spend about 30 more seconds here. If you need to come out, that's fine. And then just use your hands to bring yourself back up, just walking back up the leg with the hands. And take a moment in the center just to feel that side of the body and how it might feel. And then we'll start to the other side again, just by doing a little bit of a twist and using the hands on the thighs to push in and lengthen. And when you find the length, then you're free to bend forward at the hip crease and just walk the legs down as far as is comfortable. You can start real shallow. And then as we are here for some time, you might be able to go a little deeper. Just breathing, nice even breaths. Both sit bones on the ground. See what you can soften, what's ready to let go. A few more seconds. And when you're ready, just walking yourself back up your leg. No pressure on the knee though. You can point and flex the feet and rotate your ankles here. And then we're just going to jiggle the legs a little bit and just bring them back towards the center. Rock them back and forth. We're going to do a forward fold here. If you have a cushion or pillow that you want to fold over, that might be more comfortable, or just allow you to let go a little deeper. So you can do that. Or you don't need one if you prefer not to. I think I'm going to use mine. So I'm bringing that, whatever you've got, right into your hip crease. So really close to the abdomen as you can get. And then the hands are just going to walk down the cushion. If you can grab hold of your toes, great. If you can't, because you have really long legs like Ian, then you just leave them where you can. And then you can rest, just let your head come forward. If you have a block, you can always use the block on top of the cushion to release the forehead too. So remember, you don't have to straighten your knees. The knees have a little bit of a bend, so we don't stress any joints. A few more seconds here. See what you can release. What can you soften through the back body? And when I say what can you soften, I mean really it's not your decision. It's going to be your muscles that decide whether they can release more or not. Sometimes it's just a matter of becoming aware of what we're holding so that we can intentionally let go. So you can start to round up and just kind of walk your hands back into an upright position, moving slowly. We'll do one more seated fold and then we'll come to the ground again. So let's bring the soles of the feet together. This can be some distance from the body, or you can bring them all the way into the groin if that is possible. So it doesn't really matter, it's just wherever is comfortable, and you can bend forward a little bit from the hips. If you can reach the toes, you can interlace the hands around them. And so we really want to, again, find length through the spine. So find your sit bones, and from there, lengthen through your spine. And again, just holding here, maybe where you're comfortable. As the thighs, inner thighs kind of release, then you might be able to come a little more forward. And if not, doesn't matter, you can just chill out here and breathe. And again, just see if you can find that sense of weight through the knees so that they can open towards the ground. It's not that we're pushing them there. It's just the natural place they would fall as they release. Deep breaths. So from this position, you might have to turn on your mat depending. I think you probably are both okay, but I'm going to have to turn, so I'm lengthwise. I'm going to keep my feet as they are, and I'm just going to lower myself onto first my forearms. So again, you might have to change how close or how far your feet are from you. Soles of the feet are still together. If this feels okay for you, then you can start to let your whole back down to the ground. So just the legs are, soles of the feet are together, the rest of the body's relaxed. If that feels like too much of a pull on your inner thighs or your hips, then you can draw your knees in towards each other a little bit, and there's a little more effort to hold them there. And then just, you can either stay like this if it feels really good, which it might for some. And if you feel like you don't want to be in this position much longer, then you can just extend one leg first, just drawing that heel across the floor and lengthening, and then the other. And then we'll be in Shavasana. If there's any other props you need under the head or a blanket, go ahead and grab that. Rub your hands together so you create some heat between them. We are going to draw the hands, the cup of the palms, just lightly draped over the eye socket. So you want to feel that bone all around the eye. And let the outer edges of your palms press into that bone. So there's a little pocket of air for the eyeball. You can apply as much weight as feels good, but just leave space for the eyeballs so there's no pressure on the eye itself. Good. And then just drag your hands, open your hands a little bit, drag them over the face. Softly, just let everything drag downward, jaw opening, cheek softening, and rest your arms at your sides. And let's enter stillness. Nothing to do. Just being, sensing, breathing. Just noticing any sounds in the environment that might float through your awareness. Noticing as any sensations in the body take center stage. And listening to that deeper silence and stillness. When you're ready, you can begin to slowly bring movement into fingers and toes. And you can take any bigger movements you want. Yawn or sigh. And then just rolling onto maybe one side or the other, just taking a moment in a fetal position. Can even rock yourself a little there if that feels good. And then when you're ready, just come on up to a seated position and we'll close. You guys want to unmute for me?
Unmuted. Still light out there.
Yeah, it's nice. I didn't have to put on my fake lights.
Yes.
Okay, so let's bring the hands together and just press them into the sternum. You can rub them if you want to, that's fine. We're going to do 3 ohms tonight. So just breathe in and release the breath, and then we'll ohm. And now breathe into ohm. Last time. Oh, Shanti. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Have a good week, guys.
Yes, have a very good
And
week.
thank you, dear, as always.